7:03. I think I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your live presence. This will be super chill. We're just trying to give you guys an idea of what the in-state process is like. Um, if you didn't get the link, here's the link to the PowerPoint I'm presenting tonight. Um, we will be sharing the slides themselves, the recording, and then there's also a group me resource at the end. So you'll get all of this, so don't feel like you have to take notes. If at any point you have a question that comes up, please shout it out. Don't feel like you have to wait to the end because we can edit the slides live so that we can put all the information down at once. And we just keep it chronological. So yeah, shout out to John Luca, Brandon, Chris, and any other D2s that also joined. Appreciate you guys. All right, without further ado, I'll get started. Let me see. Okay. Let's see, the in-state petition process. So first off, just going to start off with some resources to lay it out for you all. This is a link to the official web page that kind of outlines the process. It's pretty organized now, actually. They did some rebranding, so it's really nice now. And this is the address of the registrar that you'll have to submit the whole packet to. You can't I think you can mail it in, but I think it's just easier to submit it in person. And it's going to be a hefty packet, so just keep that in mind. And then there's that email for questions. I feel like they're pretty responsive. And then as far as dates to keep in mind, you can submit it as early as June 1st for this year, but the big date to keep in mind is August 28th. That's the absolute deadline to submit. And obviously, the earlier you submit it, the better and less stressed you'll have to be when it comes to, accepting like scholarships and whatever when it comes down to it. And as far as like how long they can take to get back to you, whether you get your in-state status or not, in the summer it gets pretty backed up. So I would say expect to wait, I would say 4 to 6 weeks. Is that right, guys? Um,
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say, oh, sorry.
No, you
Uh,
can go.
yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. And also you can turn it in earlier. I'll clarify though. Um, they will cannot like officially review your documents until you've lived in Baltimore or Maryland for a year. So if say you started a lease, like most often we'll talk into it later about a lease. Like if you say you moved in July 15th, I believe like they can't officially review it until it's been like officially like July 15th of this time. So that's why it's better to get it in like earlier. You can, I believe they're kind of flexible with a couple days. They just can't officially review it until it's been exactly 1 year.
Yeah, I know a couple of our classmates submitted really close to the deadline, and that's when like a huge like pile up happened, and they were waiting like a month, maybe a little bit over a month, and you don't really want to run into that, especially if like you use like the loan system because you can't really accept the loans until like you get approved for the new cost. So we'll get into that later, but yeah, it's really important to get on it early if you can.
Yeah, and another thing is the if you do have any issues with your application, they will send it back to you as long as it's before the deadline and they'll let you resubmit, which is pretty cool. So, and the earlier the better. I submitted like pretty early into June and I heard back in like 5 days, like really quick.
there you
So, because
go.
there's nobody submitting stuff, so there was nothing for them to look at, which is nice. So keep that in mind too if you can.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see. These are just random tips that are listed on the website again. I highlighted things that may could be easily overlooked, specifically the taxes. So just keep in mind that even if you didn't have a job in Maryland, which I assume most people didn't, even if you didn't have a job here, make sure you filed Maryland taxes. I think I have a link for later on, but Even if you have zero income, just fill out 000, and then you'll have to get it certified at the comptroller office, which is literally walking distance from school. Um, and then they have other tips and tricks here. They actually provided a file folder at the office. So I just brought my stack of papers and they didn't want anything else I gave them. And then also when you give them your like bank statements or transactions, they want everything redacted, like social security numbers, bank account numbers. I don't know if everybody in our class did that and had any issues. I feel like it's not that deep, but I mean they're just like, oh, we don't want to be responsible if your information's stolen. So that's basically what that's for. Um, let's see. And we have a question in the chat. They said, if you started your lease on August 1st, is it still better to submit in June when it opens? And then Chris said, no, they won't look at your application until August 1st. So there's that. And it on that note too, we'll get into it again later, but they'll want to see 12-month statements of you paying your rent somehow. So you can't exactly submit it beforehand because you won't have that 12-month statement, if that makes sense. But we'll get into it. Maybe John Luca or somebody else want to do this.
Yeah, I can, sorry, I'll hop in to help. So for our process, the biggest thing we've always been encouraged was get this a head start. Like, don't save it into the end, like Brandon said, when there was a huge pile up. I came to Baltimore earlier too, like and like mid-July, which I'm glad I did because I'm going to talk about it later too. I was actually originally rejected and I went through another process to get, and now I am in state. I was qualified the beginning of D2 fall, but do it so you get time in because they do have like a deadline and it will like pile up. Um, so they have less time to respond. Like they can't be as quick anymore. But as you guys know, some stuff you should be doing so far, which I know many of you guys have been doing, is getting first thing is always getting your Maryland's driver's license. They're gonna want that. That's like one of the first things you need for your identification. Get a copy of your lease because they need to see the 12 months that you've lived here. So they need to see some form of payments, whether it could either be in your lease or your bank statements. Like they have to see you've been living here for 12 like months. If you have a car, I have a car, so I went through this process. I actually did. Like I like got ownership from my dad. I bought it and then I titled it here in Maryland. Now, some people like this is like, and I don't know if Brandon, Chris, if you guys did this, like I know I was told like if you don't want to go through this, like if you don't have a car, you don't want to title it, just say you don't have a car. Like that's like the less they know, the better. Like I think it makes it more complicated. So I just decided like I titled my car and I went through, but if you guys didn't title it already, like I would just say you don't have a car about it. Um, register to vote in Maryland. Make sure you get a copy of your voter registration card. It's actually really easy. I believe on a website you can request a copy of it. Like if you already registered to vote here, you can look it up and they can send you, I believe in the mail, like a physical like voter registration card. I'm not sure if you can look it up online, but I remember I requested it. I got it in the mail fairly quick. Change your address on everything too. They want to see Maryland. So, bank statements, your address, the driver's license, everything. Like I started changing it on everything I had. To show that I was like here in Maryland. That's all they want to see. And lastly, then there's a little section at the end for optional stuff to kind of like help your case to show that you're in Maryland. We can go into it more, but some opportunity, like some stuff you could talk about was you can volunteer, you could get letters of recs from people. I worked in the summer, so you could get pay stubs to show that you were here. And there's other stuff like library, like one is participation in associations. The easiest one was getting a library card. And you can also apply for Maryland Medicaid, and there's other options we can talk about. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add or.
Yeah, you're pretty spot on with the car registration. I know a lot of our classmates, like their vehicle was still registered under their parents' name, and they didn't mention it at all. So it sounds like John Luke was saying, like the less they know, the better. It's still okay to get by with that.
Yeah, if your car is registered under your parents, just leave it like that and say you don't own a car. It's way easier.
Great. See, this is why I needed you guys. Let's see. Perfect. We have a tax question in the chat actually, and Chris answered it. But just want to say it out loud. Somebody asked if we worked a job in another state after we signed our lease, would that cause any issues with W-2, or would filing taxes in Maryland cover all that? And like Chris said, you just have to file taxes in both states and know the exact dates you started living in Maryland and stopped in the old state. I believe on the petition itself, there's a place where you can indicate that as well. So that's why you need to have those dates. But yeah, just make sure you file in Maryland and get that certified copy from the comptrollers. But yeah,
Yeah.
any
And you need that past state's return as well. So I had to file in New York and Maryland, and I had to submit both.
I did not need a certified, you don't need a
It doesn't need to be
certified
certified.
copy of the other state, but the Maryland one does. And it's
Yep.
super easy, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to take this slide or I can as well?
Yeah, I can kind of talk about it.
Cool.
I know there's a lot on this one, but I think the big thing is just making sure you file your taxes in Maryland and the state that you're living in previously. Um, Josephine linked like Free Tax USA. I've been using that one for a couple of years now. So if it's your first time filing like by yourself, I recommend that site. It's free. I was able to file in Maryland and Louisiana like fairly easily, and so it emails you like PDFs of everything you need. And yeah, that was pretty quick. The comptroller's office, it's like the only like in-person chore you have to go do. But yeah, after you file your Maryland taxes, about 2 months later, you're able to go and get a signed off copy. So it was pretty easy to schedule an appointment for that, and you just walk in, you're out in like 10, 15 minutes. So
Yeah,
um,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, there's a form on the application that you just have to bring in signed and whatnot, and just say that's just like the form they use to get the copy. If you just have it ahead of time, it's just a lot easier because the comptroller, especially in Baltimore, can get very interesting if you don't go early too.
I luckily never had issues. Like I recommended here on the slide, times to go. I don't know how to personally make an appointment, but
Just go right when they open.
yeah,
I was just gonna say I did that and they saw me within 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like no one was there.
I went after the last test last year in June and May, and I think I was there like 2 hours. It was miserable.
oh no. Yeah.
So don't do that.
Oh, I just wanted to chime in as well. I've never filed taxes on my own before, so I didn't know this. But when you go to like this link, for example, it'll give you option to do state taxes and also federal taxes. You just need the state. You don't need to do federal taxes. Like the less info you have in there, the better. Like they just want to look for the checklist. Um,
Yeah, and like for the Maryland taxes, it's not like uncommon for you to go through and put zero for everything. Like that's exactly what most of us did if we didn't work in
just
Maryland at
zero
all.
on everything. Yeah. Let's see, and then it takes about 2 months after filing to get a copy at the comptroller's office. So that's why we recommend to do this now or whenever it's the filing dates start. And then you could probably do this in April or something. Yeah, we for the spring, just look into renewing your lease, and gathering the materials. Like I just downloaded the application from the website onto my iPad and tried to fill in the gaps of things I did have and no. I don't know if did you guys have any issues or hear what happened with like people, for example, whose leases ended in June and then they started their next lease in like August. I don't know what happened with those people.
Yeah, so if you have a lapse in your lease, they call it. So like you said, ends in June, and then like you went home for the summer and then you didn't re-sign till August, they're gonna want to know where you were in those dates. So you kind of have to then make up a story or say you were living with a friend and then go get that letter notarized in Maryland that you were somewhere else. But it's better just to have no lapse in your lease. Just like say your lease ends June 1st, June 2nd, you start a brand new lease or something like that.
Perfect.
It might be annoying then having to pay those couple months this summer rent, but what you're gonna save for the in-state, it's well worth it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I know we touched on it a little bit, but filing as independent is like a really big thing to like prevent any like headache going down the road. Some of our classmates had trouble with that, and they kind of had to amend maybe the tax returns, something like that. But it was just a headache for them.
Yeah. I figured I could talk about it and Josie could too. So what I was saying was I actually was like my situation was a little interesting where I was like first 2 years of like dental school, my parents like were like we can help cover. So I was like filed as dependent on my and I even though I did everything else, tried to get as much information because I was dependent they rejected me at first. They'll send out an email, they'll let you know why. They also gave me some other stuff that was missing. Like they will tell you everything and they're pretty quick about it. I'll throw that in there too. But yeah, they told me I was rejected. And the next process they said I could do was either, which I didn't want to do, was reapply again next year or go through the appeals process. So I decided to go through the appeals process, which I thought was really insightful, eye-opening. So they paired me with this, I forget the exact team, but their whole goal is to help us get in state. And she made it very clear that the whole point was to be um like dependent. They don't want to see that you are like benefiting from another state. They want to see that you're a resident of Maryland. So I ended up having to do it was I forget the exact tax form, but it's basically for an amendment where you were if you know you make an accident on your taxes, so they did an amendment where my parents took me off. They filed me as independent, and I had to do the same. I believe it was just for I forget the whole process. If it was just like my New Jersey one, I think it was. I believe it was just my New Jersey ones that they filed. They had to just after they completed the tax form, they sent me a copy that showed that I was independent. And as soon as I sent that copy to the Maryland like office again, I was immediately approved. So that was my experience with it. So I can't encourage more. Like try your best, even if you are like in my case, like I was confused too. My dad is an accountant, and he thought this didn't make any sense that even though I'm financially being covered through school and I'm technically dependent, as long as you are independent, that is all that the office cared about. Even if they're helping me still pay for school this, like, the semester, like, that is all right with them because I don't know. That was just how she worded it, as simple as she could. My dad was really confused, but that was the most important thing for them.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so basically touch base with your parents if they're usually the ones that do your taxes and just off the bat, just file as independent to keep things simple. Um, Brianna had a question in the chat. If you are independent but jointly filed taxes with a spouse who lives in a different state, would you be more likely to be rejected or just file separately from the beginning? I personally don't know the answer to this. Maybe a great resource to ask is the residency email at the beginning of the presentation. I don't know if anyone has any insight to this.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
please
think
just
it should
email.
matter because there's people married in our class that are in state, so I'm not entirely sure, but it shouldn't matter.
All right, but yeah, maybe just double check with that email before you file taxes. Maybe it could make your life easier. Um, and just on the last bullet point I had here, there's a part of the application where you can say why you moved to Maryland. And the one thing they don't want to see is that you moved here for school, even though that's the case for most people. I put this example here. I won't read it out loud. You can judge me on your own time. But basically I just talk about, oh, like I wanted to move out of Delaware. I wanted to find a new community, etc. So just milk it and create a story and you'll be good. Do you want summer? Does anyone want to take this?
I think Brandon can.
Yeah, I double-sided, huge tip. I did that, helped out a lot. I think later in here it says, yeah, don't staple or clip anything. They'll get kind of upset with you. but I had like some jumbo paper clips. I was keeping everything like organized as I was going, and then like right when you have everything ready in order, I just like unclipped everything and had it in a massive just stack. But I know a lot of these things maybe won't be required, but they help out. Like anything willing to like give you like an upper hand and getting accepted into in-state, like I was willing to put. Like I don't think your credit card statements are required, but I just went ahead and printed out all of mine. And I know I went back home for the summer, and so I was kind of I remember being nervous that like I had statements in Louisiana for like the 2 months that I was home for, and so I just didn't even include those because the credit card statements weren't even like required in general. So I just included the months I was here in Maryland just to prove that I was kind of spending money here. Um, yeah, the rent statements, mine's literally just like Venmo history to my landlord. So it doesn't have to be like super formal or anything. I think was it checking account that's required, the bank statements,
Yeah, I think just your checking account.
right? And then they want you to redact any bank account numbers. I was like Sharpieing everything for a whole
Social
hour, but
securities too.
um,
Yeah, when I went to the office, actually, they were nice. They had one of those like whiteout pen things. So I just used that and got rid of extra socials. Like, I think some people were like, "Oh, I'll keep the last four digits," but they don't want anything. So just cross it all out. And yeah, again, August 28th is the deadline. Again, like it's just helpful if you do this before you go on all your vacations and all that. So then when you come back after, you're not stressing and you don't have to deal with like the backed up office. I feel like
And
that's
try to go to the comptroller before you leave for the semester. Because having to come back to Maryland just to go to that place is really annoying.
yeah. Let's see, what's next? Again, if you're missing anything, they'll let you know. The process can be as fast as 5 days, like Chris said, or I think 6 weeks because most people submit in August. They'll usually email you, but some people's profiles just changed by themselves. You'll get like an official document that says your status changed. Um, for uh when it comes time to accept award amounts like in August, I don't know what other people did. I had like a unique situation, so I just had to accept the awards, but I don't know what you guys did. Like maybe John Luca, you can speak on it.
So for the what was this? The accept awards amount. Well, this year for me, that's why I didn't like actually have to. So I don't think I can speak too much. It'll be more like
Okay.
I know I
next year.
waited until I was accepted to like accept the award on surfs. But I think if you accepted it before you were like deemed in state, I think it was still okay. You might have just like had to they just refunded you some of the money. It doesn't actually like come to you, but it's just less loans you ended up taking out. So it's like still within that grace period to where they can take away the loans that you like originally accepted once you get accepted for in-state.
Yeah,
What?
and
Yeah.
then
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say only thing I could add because I was directly paying like out of pocket was they did give it back. I paid actually the out of state because it was like due and they were still the appeals process extended for me. They give you a little bit more time actually because of it. Um, but eventually after I got it approved, and even though I paid the out of state, they did just send me the money back in my like account.
okay, perfect. So basically, just know that it's not that deep. So you can just wait to accept it, or you can accept it and then they'll refund you. So you can go either way with that. Just want to read out some questions from the chat. Somebody asked, do the bank statements have to be from a bank located in Maryland? No, you just need your address on the statement. Um, and the address on there, it needs to be your Maryland address. Is the only place to get the certified copy of the Maryland tax return the comptroller? Yes, and that's all you need. It'll just be like literally one sheet of paper that you walk away with. And then somebody asked, does that mean we have to get a printed copy of the tax return from the original state we come from too? or just Maryland? You need both in the packet, and they'll say that in the packet so it's clear.
And check with your original state too, because I was lucky and able to get mine online and just print it out directly. Some states don't let you do that, like Maryland, you have to go to the comptroller to get it. They don't use the
You do
online
like you
system.
needed the you need the printed copy of both, but you only need to go to the comptroller for your Maryland ones. Like you don't have to go to the comptroller back in your home
Mm.
state to get those like officially stamped.
Yeah. And that's it, guys. So if you have any more questions, please throw them in the chat. But we have this group me for you guys. It has all the people that just went through the process. So if you have any questions at all, please throw them in there. And if you have any specific concerns about like, oh, this is my case, like, and you're not comfortable sharing, you can always DM like one of us. We're happy to share. And yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen. Um, let's see.
And for what it's worth, I don't think anybody was denied. Or if somebody was denied, they let them fix it and then you were got accepted. From what I've heard, I don't think anybody was.
I don't think so either. So yeah, that's all. Does anyone have any last burning questions?
I have a question. This is like a bit of a tedious question. But it just came to mind. So I like live with roommates and I'm the main person that pays rent to like our landlord, but they pay me. Like, do I just share my like screenshots of my payments through like we pay him through Zelle? Do I just share that with my roommate, like who's going through in state two? Or like does she not submit that since she's not the direct one paying? But like she is paying rent, obviously, just to me and then I pay him.
I would just say you submit the screenshots to your landlord and your friend submits the screenshots to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. All right,
Because
thank
all
you.
they need to see is like a monthly thing every month.
All right. Thank
Same
you.
thing with like your BGE bill. That's important too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessary. I just kept any like electricity or Wi-Fi payments as well that came directly from my bank account or credit cards. And
The
then
more you send, the better too.
Yeah.
Any sort of bill, BGE, Wi-Fi, just go on, you can go on their website, get a year statement, and just print it out and put it in the packet.
yeah. Somebody asked, we absolutely need to submit BGE or is it supplemental? It's supplemental. The most important is the rent, but
Hmm.
mine was like on the same thing because it came through my bank account.
Yeah.
Um, could be
The B,
helpful.
I only mentioned BG because it's very easy to get. You just go online and print out a year's long statement, and it's like 2 pages.
All right. Or if anybody has any questions and want to stay behind, I'll stay back for a few minutes. But